I didn't need it. And we're going to have some nice temperatures this week. So we are headed in the spring. I think the first day of spring might have been Sunday or Monday. And those temperatures are following suit. So absolutely love it. It's going to be 62 in a couple days, where we had snow on Sunday, but that's, Cleveland weather for you. It's very bipolar. So, Brandy, you should be joining us in a hot second. Super excited to be here today. It is Tuesday, and we got some March Madness to talk about. I'm really fascinated with this tournament, and I'm following the girls because Ohio State didn't make it. So yesterday, the Ohio State Buckeye ladies had a crucial victory against the North Carolina Tar Heels. It went down to the final wire, and they showed a snippet of when North Carolina and Ohio State faced each other before, and it didn't go Ohio State's way. Unfortunately, they were playing at UNC, and it was for a spot in the tournament, and UC or UNC beat Ohio State on a last second buzzer beater. So yesterday, turnabout is fair play. Ohio State got a chance to beat them with the buzzer beater, and it was great to watch. They were actually playing while we were on the show, but it was great to watch the replays of that. So now Ohio State faces UConn, and that's going to be a tough matchup for these Ohio State Buckeyes. You got a team that is very experienced. They're coming in at a number 2 seed, but they're very experienced in what they do. I believe they have 11 national championships. They've been to so many Final Fours. There was a comparison that was done about how far they've been. And I'm just super excited for this game. I'm going to make sure that I'm watching it. I believe this game is going to be on Friday. I'm going to check the times and give it to you. And unfortunately, Toledo got beat pretty bad yesterday. They lost. Let's see who they lost to, because I wrote that. They lost big to Tennessee, a 94-47. But it looks like they had a great run. And, they made it to the field of 32, which is, I'm sure, very big for a school like that. And it gives them the opportunity to continue to make successful strides. It's huge for the program as well. So I love it, for that program to make it to the field of 32. So, hopefully next year they'll be able to advance to the Sweet 16. So, teams getting this experience is something that's, pretty awesome, and it'll help their program later down the line. So it looks like Ohio State faces UConn at 4 p.m. on Saturday. So that's going to be a great game. I'll make sure that I'm watching that game. It's going to be super cool. So, get your popcorn ready, and let's watch some Ohio State basketball. Since the men are not there, that's okay. So we already know that UConn is going to be a tough draw for the Ohio State University, and Gino Auriemma probably has something very special. Ohio State has played UConn before. They played them in some tough games, but they did not win. So I'm going to look at Ohio State versus UConn. And see where they match up. See if Buckeye Wire can give me any information on this. And last night, UConn topped Baylor 77-58. I was watching that game, and it was a good game. And Baylor was hanging right with them, and then it just kind of got out of hand. So UConn outscores opponents by 17.9 points per game, scoring 76.3 per game to rank 25th in college basketball, while allowing 58.4 per outing to rank 43rd in college basketball, and has a plus 644 scoring differential overall. The Huskies have put up 70.7 points per contest in their last 10 appearances, an average that's slightly lower than the 76.3 they've scored over the course of the 2022-23 campaign. So Ohio State, Hey, Brandy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just reading a little bit of Ohio State. They got a tough matchup about with UConn that's coming up on Saturday. So wanted to plug Ohio State a little bit. It's going to be a huge game for this program in Ohio State University, and it looks like Ohio State has plus 416 scoring differential, outscoring opponents by 12.2 points per game, is a result of putting up 80.4 points per game, eighth in college basketball, while giving up 62.2 per outing, 275th in college basketball. And in the past 10 games, the Buckeyes are averaging 75 points per game, 5 points fewer than their season average of 80.4. So, Brandy, what are your thoughts about this matchup with OSU coming up and UConn?
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be a really tough matchup. Especially the past few years, UConn's been a really successful program. They've had some star players in their program. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Ohio State, but they played really well against North Carolina. So I think, as long as they're able to put up points, Taylor Mescal played really well in their last game. She almost had 20
Mm-hmm.
points. So I think it'll be a tough game, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch the North Carolina game?
I didn't. I missed it.
Okay, I was watching it, and I had to leave to come to the studio, and it was an exciting game. Every time Ohio State went on a run and scored some points and put distance between them and UNC, UNC came right back. So at the very end of the game, UNC went on a scoring run, and they only held I think Ohio State to 2 points during that scoring run. But at the end, it got very close where they were trading baskets, and then Ohio State was the beneficiary of having the ball with the seconds waning down. And I forgot what her name was. Is it not Taylor Maxwell? I forgot what her name was, but she scored the final. Um, she scored the final point in the last minute second. So JC Sheldon, sorry about that. Yeah, JC Sheldon scored the winning basket, and at the end, during the game, they were showing how UNC beat Ohio State a couple years ago on a last minute bucket. So kind of the same thing played out yesterday. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be exciting to see. Ohio State not having that experience. They've only been to one Final Four. I think UConn has like 11 national championships. Ohio State has none. I remember when Ohio State went to the national title game and they lost when they had Katie Smith versus Cheryl Swoops. I think I want to say it might have been Texas Tech that they lost to. Yeah, so I've been in love with Ohio State's women basketball for a long time. I don't have a chance to watch it as much as I would like to, but I'm a Buckeye through and through, as well as you are. So I support all teams,
Right.
and I'm proud of these ladies. No matter what happens against on Saturday, they have the ability to shock the world, and I think that they can possibly do so. It's March Madness. You never know what can happen. UConn is ranked number 2 and Ohio State is ranked number 3. So that's a pretty close matchup, in that bracket. So they are where they should be. So I'm super excited about that. And then on the college front as well, I already announced that Toledo got beat, so they are out of the field of. They lost in the field of 32. They kind of got roughed up a little bit by Tennessee, so their season comes to end. And Ohio State men's hockey is going to the college playoffs as the number 3 seed, and it faces Harvard, the number 2 seed, in an effort to make it to the Frozen Four. So I think Ohio State will be able to beat Harvard, even though it's a second seed. So Ohio State almost won the Big Ten championship, and they lost the final game to Michigan. So they play Big Ten teams a lot in college hockey, I guess, because they had so many matchups with Michigan this season. But they're ready to take on they're ready to take on Harvard to get to the national championship. The hockey ladies won the national title last year, and they recently lost to the national championship game to Wisconsin 1-0 when they pretty much had beat Wisconsin this year. So, unfortunately, and that just took place on Sunday. So, a lot of excitement, with the tournament. There was some stuff going on with Ohio State that I completely was oblivious to because I'm like, if I knew the national championship game was on, I definitely would have been watching that. So, George says OSU is a number 3 seed for the women. That's correct, George. And UConn is the number 2 team in their bracket. And then, hi, Mickey. We are good. And thank you for calling us beautiful. We do appreciate that. We love you, Mickey. We love you too, George. So that's pretty much what's going on in college pertaining to the state of Ohio. So super excited this weekend, even though all the Ohio teams are out, Xavier is still around. So that is a good thing. So at least we got one Ohio team representing. Xavier usually has a strong tournament resume, and I see that they're in it. So, we can root for Xavier to, continue to carry on the tradition of Ohio team advancing. So Xavier, I believe, is in the Sweet 16 now.
Mm-hmm.
Any surprises for you for the tournament, Brandy?
I'd say there's been a few upsets that I've seen. Yesterday, I was watching a little bit of Miami. They beat Indiana, and Indiana was the first seed. Miami was 9. So, and same on the men's side, there's been a couple of, shocks like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Feel bad for some teams. Shaka Smart lost Marquette. They lost to, I want to say Michigan State. And then Dennis Gates from Missouri, they lost to their opponent as well. So, that's kind of like our little Cleveland connection. So, I root for Dennis Gates no matter what he does, since he was able to have the Cleveland State program, have some success more than it had in recent years. So I was rooting for him. But this tournament has me exhausted. I was watching on Sunday and then I just fell asleep. So yesterday I gave kudos to the high school teams that won the state championship. They went 4-0 for Northeast. The only one that lost was Lutheran West, but Lutheran East won a state title as well. So I kind of feel bad, but they lost the championship. Lutheran West lost the championship to a Northeast Ohio team as well. So, that's not too bad. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on with basketball right now. I'm super excited. And when we come back from break, we are going to talk some Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. So we're going to be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
I'm Najee Hall, and I look forward to seeing you, and yes, you in community.
I'm Lila Parker. I look forward to growing with the Central residents. My name is Tila, and I'll be around the Central neighborhood. Look forward to seeing you outside.
I am Marvetta Rutherford. You may also know me as the Crazy Black Lady. I'm looking forward to finding out what's important to you.
I'm Makita Worley, and I look forward to re-engaging with everyone from Central Community.
For the next 2 months, you can find us at community events and gathering spaces around Central in collaboration with our radio partner, WOVU 95.9 FM.
And we want to know what's important to you.
We want to understand what issues are important to Central residents so we can report on issues you care about.
Signal Cleveland is a community-centered newsroom, and our name is a nod to Garrett Morgan, the noted Cleveland inventor and businessman.
Among his many successful inventions was the 3-position traffic signal, which influenced the traffic signal we use today. Morgan also started the newspaper that eventually became the Call and Post.
Now that's shown enough history, and it's our history.
Najee again, Signal Cleveland is also a nod to Ohio's role in the Underground Railroad.
Cleveland, known as the station of hope on the railroad, was the last stop before Canada. On the freedom quilts reportedly used to mark the way, the crossroads symbol meant Cleveland, and that's how folks knew they were on the right path.
Yes, indeed. Signal Cleveland is on the right path.
The path of getting to know you. The crossroads symbol inspired our Cleveland Signal news logo.
Look for our crossroads Rose logo at a community event near you.
I'm Lakita. Tell us what's important to you.
I'm Arvetta.
I'm Tila. I'm Lila Parker.
And I'm Najee Hall. Tell us what's important to you at 216-220-9398. That's 216-220-9398.
We are Signal Cleveland.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. Keep in mind you can keep it locked right here on 95.9 FM on your regular radio dial. Then you can download that app so you can listen to us on the go. Also, you can listen to us online at WOVU.org. You can hear us all over the world. And you can always call the station 216-271-0959. So I'm here with Brandy Fairfax, and we're about to delve into we're going to get to that, Mickey. So we are going to talk about the World Baseball Classic. So we're going to get there. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. So thank you, George, for saying outstanding. And we know Team USA plays Team Japan tonight. So we're going to get to that, though, Mickey. But we want to talk some Cleveland Cavaliers. And they have a pretty big series coming up, a back-to-back with the Nets with 1 day of rest in between. Like I said, I don't know who made this schedule, but I am not approving of it for the Cavs having these back-to-back schedules on the road. And I'm wondering if other teams are having them as well. And if this is something new that the NBA is trying. But this is, opportunity for them to be the team that, is going to make the playoffs. But the Cavs are truly better than, and they have some players who are hurt. But I think that this is an opportunity for them to get a sweep and further close that gap between them and Philadelphia. Unfortunately, they didn't win the game last week against Philadelphia. They had a few opportunities to do so, but they did not. So you have them chasing the 76ers, trying to close that gap to see if they can overtake it. But right now, the 76ers are on a run. I think they lost last night or the day before. So they were like winners of like 7 straight or something like that. But Jared Allen is still out with a contusion as well. So his status is questionable for tonight. What do you think about this series, Brandy?
Yeah, I think, not having Jared Allen the past 2 games has been tough. But I think, Evan Mobley has played very well. We've seen that over the past couple of months now. Evan kind of take that jump. And I think, especially the past 2 games, and when Donovan was hurt, Karis LeVert has stepped up as well. So hopefully he's able to stay more consistent, because I think that will definitely help us in this series and in playoffs if Karis can stay consistent.
Yeah, we're going to get to Karis in a little bit. So this team is going to be, I just got one statement. But how important is Jared Allen to this team? Evan Mobley has been holding it down, but Jared Allen is that rim protector that you need. How important is it? How important is he to this team?
I think he's so important. I think we even can see it, in games, even, when he got hurt and went out, you could see it kind of immediately. And, even us scoring on the offensive side in the paint, the Cavs are, one of the top teams in the league to be able to score in the paint and defend in the paint. So, he's very important to have out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just felt bad because we went through the same thing with Darius early this year to open up the season, and you hope, that Jared, gets, better soon, and hopefully nothing affects his vision or anything like that. But you're hoping, for him to get well soon, because you're going to need him for the playoffs. So you're going to need, your starter to come in and be that rim protector and deter other players from trying to take it inside the paint. So get well, Jared, but he's questionable for tonight. So we shall see if he plays tonight. I highly doubt he will. I think that they'll try to rest him against the Nets, for these 2 games or whatever. But I don't think he's going to play. So hopefully we can rest up. He can rest up soon and, be with this team and actually play. So Karis LeVert. So yeah, Karis LeVert is star. Well, I wouldn't say he's a star, but he's been making star moves and star plays. After having a terrible February, he's came back and been one of the leaders here for the month of March, and he's taken advantage of the opportunities that he's been given, and he's coming into his own a little bit. He was a leading scorer against Philly because of the defense that was played against Darius and Donovan. How important was Karras in that game?
In which game did you say?
Against Philly.
Yeah, Karras, definitely stepped up. I think, that was such a game that the Cavs should have been able to win. I thought that they were going to be able to have that one, but he definitely helped. A lot of times, the other teams are worried about Donovan or they're worried about Darius. So, that gives space for it to open up for Karras. So, and other players too. They just need to be able to, make sure they're able to knock down those shots when it's their opportunity.
Yeah. So one of, obviously Philly's game plan was to make sure that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland did not beat them. So, they played defense particularly well against, the two of them, and they were very effective because Karis LeVert had more than 24 points. So he was the leader in that game, and you would expect Donovan and Darius to, be the ones that had that many points, but they weren't able to. So, you got to give credit to Philly is that, they took those two out of the game essentially. And it was like, we're going to make everybody else beat us. And, Karras stepped up to play. One thing is, even though this is the number one rated defense in the National Basketball Association, one thing is they couldn't check Joel Embiid at all.
Right.
And Joel got whatever he wanted to. I think he finished with 36 points. He got whatever he wanted to, and almost everything that he shot went in. So, you can't look at Joel Embiid and be like, there's bad aspects of his game because, he could take it inside the paint. He could defend inside the paint. And the Cavs were having a hard time getting those shots in the paint when he was there, when he was in the game. They'd have to, try to pass around him and stuff like that. So that's a game where your passes need to be crisp. You don't have a lot of turnovers. But Joel Embiid, shuts stuff down in the inside. So the Cavs had to be creative about finding ways to score when he was on the field, on the court. But, his game is just, he has a shot, he has a 3-pointer, obviously he dunks, but he also can make free throws too. And that's something most big guys can't do, but Joel is able to do that. And what are your thoughts about Joel and how he played last week?
Yeah, he was also able to get 18 rebounds. So I think, on top of his 36 points, 18 rebounds, that speaks for it right there. But yeah, I did notice that during the game, I think sometimes there were rebounds that were 50-50 that the Cavs, should have got and that they didn't. So I think, that affects teams very big in playoffs. You have to win those 50-50 rebounds.
But they ain't winning the 50-50 rebounds at all. So, I'm thinking that the Cavs defensive strategy is to, kind of let Joel Embiid go off, but make everybody else beat them. And, Joel Embiid beat them pretty much by himself because he alters the game in so many ways that the Cavs couldn't catch up. And that's one of the things, even though Philly has, a tendency to be bounced early for the playoffs, they still have that playoff experience. And this was kind of like a playoff game atmosphere, inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. So, the Cavs are getting a little taste of it about, what these teams who have experience will do to come behind because, 76ers, they got up on runs and they led by a little bit. And then the Cavs went on runs and, went back and forth for a little bit. But eventually Philly pulled away. And I think that's due to a lot of experience that they have and just, the game plan for Joel Embiid. I mean, I was just amazed by how he played. And, I'm not getting a chance to watch Philly basketball that much, but, he's definitely a superstar, and I see why. And the Cavs could not handle him. And I think even if they had Jared Allen in the game protecting the rim and stuff, Joel was still going to get whatever he wanted to because Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are string beans.
Yeah, they definitely get pushed around, especially when they're playing Joel Embiid. But Tyrese Maxey also had a good game too. I think sometimes defenses sleep on him, but he had 5 threes and he had 23 points. So I think, if they're going to let Joel get whatever he's going to get, they're going to have to make sure players like Tyrese Maxey aren't hitting 20. Also, George said, it reminded me, Joel Embiid did foul out and they overturned it.
Yeah, we were going to get to that too. So definitely foul, definitely a push off. But, it was a like playoff game atmosphere. It was a national televised game, which I didn't know. So they're not going to let their superstar foul out.
That's true.
Excuse me. They're going to let him stay to the end and see what happened. And the game, I believe, was close at that point, too. So, I look at it, obviously he's a superstar, so he's going to get officiated differently. Him and James Harden already do. I'm surprised that Joel Embiid had 5 fouls because it didn't seem like they were calling any fouls, on him. And they weren't calling any fouls for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I hate to blame the refs, but usually the home team gets those calls. But in that, somehow that was overturned and everybody could see, the announcers on TV were saying that, hey, this is a foul. And then all of a sudden, Philly decides to challenge that. It was a great challenge. Hats off to you. But I believe with the crooked and shady NBA, I wouldn't say it's fixed, but you got gambling that's taking place at a lot of places right now. So I wonder if that factored into the decision. But he definitely, it definitely was a charge. And I'm just flabbergasted. But I always say that officials officiate James Harden and Joel Embiid differently. And JB has said something in that game to that effect that, JB was with Houston and he has said that they know how to draw fouls pretty much. So, they're not professionals at it, but they're very good at it. And, I just am amazed that when, they play against the Cavaliers. Now we got a chance to see it a little bit, how they never call any fouls on them. But the Cleveland Cavaliers players, they can get bodied and bloodied and tossed around, but there's never any fouls called on those players that do that. So I'm just like, I'm not really understanding it. I'm not feeling it. And, we'll see in the playoffs definitely how they are getting officiated. So the playoffs are a whole different beast. But, this is a good opportunity for the Cavs to get some exposure, hopefully, like I was saying about Toledo earlier in the show, this is big for their program to make it to the field of 32. And, you hope that, it progresses longevity within the success of your program. So I think that, that's been a good experience for the Cleveland Cavaliers, playing Milwaukee, playing Boston, playing Philly, the top 3 teams in the East. I think has been great experiences for them as they embark in the playoffs as a team that really has no playoff experience outside of LeBron. I think that this will be an excellent challenge for them. And I think they'll grow as basketball players where, you won't necessarily see them. I mean, I'm hoping they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But if they don't, it's okay. But you hope that this is, that they've made moves to steer themselves in the right direction. And I think they have. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think they have. Even looking back at last year when they were in the play-in and weren't able to, win those games to get into playoffs. And then, getting Donovan Mitchell this year, they've definitely taken steps forward. I think, they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, it's going to be tough, but I think they definitely have the potential to.
So Spencer Dinwiddie said, we look forward to dunking on Jared Allen. Wow. Wow. Okay, then. So, I mean, George says what Genius scheduled those games in Brooklyn tonight and Thursday. He also said Joel Embiid gets a foul call on him and is overturned. Rachel, you sound like a king crybaby. Blame the refs. Mickey, I told you I wasn't trying to blame the refs, but you got to admit that there's a discrepancy regarding how they call these games, especially when it comes to Joel Embiid and James Harden. So you have to admit that, and that call should not have been overturned, Mickey. So we're gonna go ahead and go to break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
Campaign, nothing about us without us. The definition of a song service. Friday and Saturday, March 31st and April 1st, live at the First Baptist of Greater Cleveland in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Friday night, featuring the Bolton Brothers. A last get ready for a life-changing experience. With the Bolton Brothers. With special guests, Buzz by Four, Marcus Newson, and the Newson Singers. Plus Maurice Yancey and Ron Core. Then on Saturday night, get ready for Devil Tennis and Take Two. Plus, the Anointed Brown Sisters. Also on Saturday night, see Roy and Revelation. Holly and Faithful. 2 days of an explosive spiritual experience.
For more information, visit
TNL Bookstore in Cleveland, eventbrite.com/gospelkid. Call Pastor Banks at 216-544-0424. That's 216-544-0424. Or visit gospelkid.com. This service has been brought to you by Mandate Cleveland, Make Them Know Your Name, Sisters of Charity, King's Funeral Services, Jules and His Crown, Gospel Music Historical Society, True by Hilton, Metro Health System, and Gospel Kid Communications.
along with WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, Burtonville Power Community Radio. All proceeds benefit Peace Foundation Fleet and Jewels in this Crown.
Yo, listen up. So many of our daily activities are now made easier by using a computer and internet. You want to schedule a doctor's appointment, take a class, check the final score for your favorite team. Life is easier when you do it all from your home on your computer. To find out how to get a home internet that fits your budget, contact Digital Navigator today at 216-307-6990. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9. Again, I'm here with Brandy Fairfax, and one of the things I know I said I wanted to dig a little deeper and Karis LeVert. So one of the things that Karis has said, he's had an up and down season, and him and JB came together, and pretty much it was JB's decision, I'm sure, but supposedly they had a mutual understanding in the talk that it'd probably be best for him to come off the bench and lead the bench unit. I don't understand how he felt that over Isaac Okoro, who I feel like Karis should be playing over Isaac Okoro, because pretty much Isaac leads you with no points. So I kind of don't understand how JB came to that decision. I feel like he should be starting, especially after that performance in Philly. It was just very good. But he said that he could be more efficient that way, and he is in playoff mode right now. I don't know if the Pacers made it to the playoffs when he was a player, but he's a solid defender, and his teammates have been speaking highly of him and what he's been able to do recently for this team and how they help him. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. I think it's hard. We have seen improvement in him when he's been in the starting lineup. We've seen some of his better games, but I think it does make sense to, JB have him coming off the bench, because then if Karras is starting, we wouldn't have much coming off the bench. So I do get that part there, but I do think he has been a little bit more efficient when he's starting.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be the death lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he got removed from that. So also Cleveland is ranked number one in the defense in NBA, and that's impressive. They especially like being physical. And remember when Darius Garland had said that that they not punks.
Mhm.
So people start something, they finish it. That's a great thing because defense is going to matter in the playoffs, but you also got to stop the superstars as well. So you have to have a plan for that. So I didn't know that they were number one in the league because I look at some of the losses that we had, some of the bad road losses. So I was pretty much shocked and surprised that they were, but that's a good thing, and that's something that's going to help them in the playoffs, depending on who they play. And the Washington Wizards has said that the Cleveland Cavaliers were very physical on defense. If you're intimidating other teams, but the Washington Wizards suck too.
Yeah.
So you're able to push them around a little bit because they just don't have the players. So, this remains to be seen. So they're also forcing teams to turn the basketball over more, which is also a good thing because you're going to need those turnovers, but you also have to convert off of those turnovers too and get points. And the Cavs need to limit their turnovers too. They get up there with the turnovers, plus 10 a game. So you need to limit those. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely the turnovers on offense. Sometimes when they're passing, it just goes out of bounds. And I'm like, who are they trying to pass to? So things like that, in playoffs, they're not going to be able to make those little mistakes like that. That's going to cost them, even though that is, something little like getting the ball in, not getting a violation or not having a 24-second violation. But another thing, I do like how Lamar Stevens has been playing more minutes. I think if he continues to do that and JB puts him in, I think he could kind of be our glass slipper throughout playoffs.
Yeah, they responded really well to him in that Boston game, and they said that he's the reason that they won, and they didn't want to disappoint Lamar. So, they said they played hard for him. And I'm like, it shouldn't have taken him to come off the bench to be a spark in that game, especially when they had sat down Jason Tatum. It was just crazy that, Jaylen Brown, but he did a good job of leading Boston, and Boston was kicking our butt for a little bit. And then, Lamar Stevens came in and, he came in and was a spark plug for that team, and they were able to win. So do you think if we match up against Boston, we're going to be able to do some damage? Because we went 3-1 against them. All the wins were in overtime. What do you think about a possible matchup with Boston? Do you think that we can beat them in a 7-game series?
I think they can. I think, we've shown that throughout the regular season, but like you said, all the games that we've played them have gone into overtime, and even the game that they didn't have Jason Tatum, it still went into overtime. So it won't be easy for them, but I think as long as they contain Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, it might have to be both of them, then they can win.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Somebody told me that I was doing a show one day, and somebody told me that their sleeper pick was the Cleveland Cavaliers to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I was really shocked about that. But, even though they don't have any playoff experience, they have Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell is a player who's been there before. And I look to him to lead this team and tell them what needs to happen and what needs to be done. I think Jared Allen has some playoff experience too with the Nets. So that's a great thing as well. But I think it can be done. It's going to take a lot. Jason Tatum is going to go off. You have to have a plan to stop him. So do you put Isaac Okoro, who is supposedly a great defender, on Jason Tatum?
I don't think so. I personally would prefer Karras or seeing Lamar Stevens on him.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, somebody to slow him down. Because what do you think about Isaac's defense?
I think it's okay. I think, he's definitely improved from when he first came to the Cavs, but I don't know if it's at the point yet of, guarding these top stars.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever say that he's a lockdown defender in the least bit.
Right.
So, all right, let's move on. Cleveland Browns. So the Cleveland Browns have made another pickup and another signing. They picked up linebacker Matthew Adams. So, Brandy, what do you think about that pickup at cornerback?
Yeah, I think, the Browns have made some pretty good moves in the past few days. I think it's still, not knowing what Anthony Walker is going to do. I think I saw he had a visit with the Commanders, I want to say. So, having him come in if Anthony Walker doesn't, stay, that would be good. They were also on the Colts together. So if both of them do come to play here, then, having them back together, I think would be a good move.
He appeared in 10 games with 3 starts for the Bears last season. He recorded 26 total tackles with 2 for loss, and he also had a forced fumble. They're saying that this could have been a signing that was influenced by Bubba Ventrone. Adams was a Colts 7th round pick in 2018 and spent his first 4 seasons with Indy as a heavy special teams contributor when Ventrone was a units coordinator. So it's possible that, he's brought in for special teams to contribute on those. In all 17 games for Indianapolis in 2021, he played 79% of the special team snaps, recording 10 total tackles. So I think we talked about Mike Ford yesterday as well. What do you think of that signing?
Yeah, I think he's a good, option as well. I think a lot of people were mad at the Browns of not going for bigger names in the free agency, but I think, they found players that are going to work in the new system and that, Jim Schwartz is going to be able to work really well with.
Yeah, so the Browns want to go after Jerry Jeudy, but the Broncos are not interested in trading for him. Russell Westbrook has to get some weapons as he tries to get his career on track because he had a terrible first year in Denver and they were not a very good team as well. So the Browns probably will not be able to pick up Jerry Jeudy. They did sign Josh Dobbs again for a 1-year, $2 million guaranteed to back up Deshaun Watson. So, I'm really surprised that they brought him back and not Jacoby Brissett. But Jacoby Brissett feels like he can start somewhere and he might get that opportunity with the Redskins. What do you think about bringing back Joshua Dobbs?
Yeah, I saw that alert. I was surprised too, bringing him back. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because, they all talked about, Deshaun, Jacoby, and Joshua. They all talked about, how they were all so close last year, even though Deshaun wasn't on the field and, how they all supported each other. Plus, a lot of people liked what Joshua Dobbs did in the, little spurts that he was in the game. So I think it's a good option to have him as a backup for Deshaun.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously he knows the Cleveland system. He knows the playbook and stuff like that. So, I don't ever see him really, being able to start games and things like that, here, because it didn't go so well. What team did he go to last season? Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
I had to look that up. But I know it wasn't the Texans, was it?
It was Tennessee.
Okay. Okay, that's what I thought. And Tennessee had a terrible season, so I don't think him starting, caused any more damage because Mike Vrabel might be on his way out. And I kind of root for him. I don't like the fact that he was a Patriot, but I kind of root for him because he's an Ohio State graduate. So
Derrick Henry might be leaving now.
huh?
I said, and Derrick Henry might be leaving now.
Yeah, I know that would be crazy. Obviously, the Browns do not have a need at running back, but it's all a business to these players. So they be on the move just like people that are not professional athletes. You would move for a different opportunity as well. Other teams come a calling and they paying you more money, and the destination is nice. I don't really see any wrong with it. I don't like the fact that LeBron left, but you know there was an opportunity for him to make more money in a place that he liked and stuff like that. I'm like, if I'm 25 years old and somebody approached me, I probably would leave too. But, I didn't have a whole city that adores me and all that other stuff too. But I kind of understand. So, wish the best for Derrick Henry. I didn't like him because he went to Alabama, but
Right.
but we beat Alabama to get to the national championship game, and we won that season. So, he all right. But it's time for us to take another break. So we're going to be right back talking a little bit more Browns, and we're going to talk about that World Baseball Classic, Mickey. But George says the only player that they fell asleep on was Cooks at the Dallas gave up a 5 and a 6. Yeah, Brandon Cooks. So we could have had him as a receiver. And he said, is it possible collusion occurring with the Lamar Jackson? Has no takers so far. Chris Stiles discussed that yesterday with me as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM.
The Timothy L. Tramble Jr. TJ Memorial Scholarship is accepting applications now through March 30th. Get $2,000 to spend on anything you need for your educational journey. Books, food, transportation, supplies, housing, whatever you need, this $2,000 scholarship can help you get it. And qualifying is easy. Are you a resident of Cleveland? Are you a recent high school grad or current college student with a 2.2 GPA or higher? Are you currently attending or plan to attend Tri-C, Cleveland State University, Central State University, or any other HBCU? Plus, you have a verified financial need and you're active in your community? What are you waiting for? Go to unitedblackfund.org and click on Community Funds to find all the information and application for the $2,000 Timothy L. Tramble Jr. TJ Memorial Scholarship. The last day to apply is March 30th. Go to unitedblackfund.org, click on Community Funds, and submit your application. This message is brought to you by the Tramble family, United Black Fund, and 95.9 FM, WOVU, Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
COVID is still in our community, and your health matters to Neighborhood Family Practice. They can help you prevent COVID or other health issues like diabetes, HIV, or high blood pressure. Their providers take the time to know you and understand your health needs and the health needs of your entire family. They accept Medicaid and have openings for new patients. Neighborhood Family Practice takes care of patients no matter their ability to pay. Call today at 216-281-0872. 216-281-0872. Or log on to nfpmedcenter.org. Your health matters to Neighborhood Family Practice.
This message is brought to you by Neighborhood Family Practice and 95.9 FM WOVU, Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm here with Brandy Fairfax, and we are talking a little bit of football right now. So we were just talking about some of the additions that the Browns had to make this team better. So one of the things that we talked about is Josh Dobbs coming back for a 1 year fully guaranteed contract. And what else do you think that they need to add, Brandy?
I'd say probably, they have added to the defensive line. I'd say, they've also signed Ethan Pochik, which I think, that was well deserved. He played very well, stepping up, having to come into that position. But let's see. I think obviously probably only receivers right now to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm wondering what took so long with that. And like George said, they missed out on Brandon Cooks and really didn't have to give up on anything to get him. So that's kind of a disappointment. This talent that's out here, you got to go and get them. You got Deshaun Watson, and you got to get receivers that can create separation. That's one of the biggest knocks on Donovan Peoples-Jones, as he struggles to get that separation from corners and stuff like that. So it's important that you get some speedy receivers out here that can actually do it. And right now, the Browns aren't hitting on any of that. So I think that they will definitely draft some, because Anthony Schwartz should not be with this team next season at all. So he got to go.
I agree. Marquise Goodwin visited Cleveland today as well. So he's from Seattle. They said they weren't sure if they were going to sign him or not. But what do you think about all the rumors of Odell possibly coming back?
I'm okay with it. If I was Odell, I wouldn't want to come back, because they chose Baker over him. And then, Baker was the cause of all the problems. And then they got rid of OBJ instead. So if I was him, I'd be a little bit bitter about that. And I probably wouldn't come back, but I'm sure he'll come back for the right price. So far, no teams have offered him anything, but a lot showed up to his workout. I believe it might have been 17 teams showed up for him. So that's a good number. But yeah, they chose Baker over him when he was the problem.
Right.
So I don't really like that. And I don't like how the situation was handled. Everybody's talking about Odell forced himself out of Cleveland and stuff like that. I don't necessarily look at that. And they knew Baker was a problem all along, and he had been for years. So why would you choose Baker, who what you wasn't going to keep around at the end of his first contract? Why you choose Baker over Odell?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm kind of bitter about that, because I love Odell. He helped me go viral. So that's my man, 50 grand. So I'm always gonna have his corner and being his back. But I honestly don't think the situation was handled very well. So at the end of the day, I just hope he signs with the team that he can be a great fit for, and they sign him for the amount that he wants to be signed for.
Yeah, I agree.
So George asked, was there collusion or whatever? And do you think that there's some collusion going on with Lamar?
I think there's something going on. I've been thinking, they've been negotiating with him now for like the past 2 seasons, trying to get a new contract. And he has had some injuries, but he's still at the same time one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. So I don't see why they're so hesitant to give him the deal that he wants. But it is also confusing now to see that other teams can go after him, and not one team has even wanted a meeting just to speak with him. So I don't know, maybe there is something behind the scenes that we don't know, because right now no other thing is making sense to me.
Yeah, I absolutely get it. Chris Styles yesterday, we had a talk about this off air, and he said, nobody should be thinking about what people deserve. So I was like, that's a great, analogy, because we kind of think about what people deserve in life, all throughout life. So I feel like he deserves the money. And I feel like he deserves Deshaun money, But Patrick Mahomes did get a lengthy contract and a lot guaranteed. But Lamar wants his contract fully guaranteed, and I understand that. George said, I'm sorry.
Also look at Kyler Murray. He's in the top 5 highest paid quarterback, but in his contract they have how he has to limit himself playing video games. So how is he the top highest paid, but Lamar can't be?
Yeah, I know. George says, attention, the only way I would bring back OBJ is with the NFL minimum contract with incentives. 1 year type of signing, but warning the second year, I think it says. Yeah, I'd definitely be willing to bring him back, but he has to want to come back. Like I said, it'd be sour grapes for me. So I wanted to get to baseball. We only got 5 minutes left. Have you been watching the World Baseball Classic?
I have not. I've been missing it. Have you?
No, I haven't had a chance to, but I plan on watching tonight. So the Cavs game, I believe, starts at 7:30, and the World Baseball Classic starts at 7 p.m. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth. And right now, Japan is undefeated with a come-behind win from Team Mexico. Otani obviously has been great for Team Japan as well, and Team USA comes in at 3-1, so that should be super exciting. So that game comes on at 7 p.m. So I'll probably have two TVs on, running back and forth to see the Cavs play and the WBC.
Right. You got to have the both TVs. That's what I do too.
Yeah, because this is huge. Because I don't think that the last World Baseball Classic that Team USA made it to the finals or anything like that. And I'm like, it's crazy because we pretty much invented the game. So if anything, you expect the USA to be more superior to other teams. But hey, it's a worldwide game now, and other teams are catching up. So it's going to be great tonight to see if the U.S. can dominate Team Japan. So I'm looking forward to it. I always try to watch these games, but schedule hasn't allowed it. But I'll be watching tonight. Shane Bieber is looking great in spring training. He's really one of the only pitchers that I believe has won every outing, and they say he looks sharp and he looks good. And I think I want to say, no, I'm not even going to comment on his I want to say it's less than 2 ERA for spring training. But they said that he looks really good. So other people are a little bit spotty in the rotation. Tristan McKenzie, I think he'll get it together. Zach Plesac, I never really believed in Zach Plesac. Cal Quantrell, unfortunately, he gave up those home runs against New York. And Aaron Savali has to be heard. I'm thinking Savali would be number 3 in the rotation. You could have Cal at number 4 and probably Zach Plesac at number 5, because Zach Plesac really don't got it anymore. What you think about the starting rotation?
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. Shane, happy to, have him back if he was hurt. And he's definitely done very well. I just looked, his ERA right now is 1.62.
Okay, thank you. I thought it was below 2. So yeah, he's doing really well. The Guardians have a lot of cuts to make it to 26 men. So, that's pretty much what's going on in spring training. That's why, you have it to see, who's going to be able to be on your team next year. Right now, controversy with Diamond Sports Group. They own 4 regional networks, including Bally's, and it went under. And the Indians said they don't foresee an issue with their games. So the first few will be on Bally's, and then they'll just figure it out after that. So Major League Baseball will do anything possible to keep those games going as well. Trevor Bauer signed with the Japanese team. I think it's probably to prove that he still has it, and to see if another team will take a shot on him after serving the 2-year suspension for domestic violence. And Guardians have been crappy in spring training. They've been getting their butt whoops. But you're playing players that you probably wouldn't normally play to see if they can make this team or not. So hopefully they get off to a fast start in the beginning of the season. So just a few closing notes. Brandy, I appreciate you being here today. That is our time. You guys out there, thanks George and Mickey for your comments. And I can't read what George says. WBC fact: they have outdrawn the total attendance of the Oakland A's season 11, 1 million to 700,000. All right, we'll end our show on that. Thanks for listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM.